Hi, I'm Lois.
And I'm Stacey.
And you are listening to Whose Girl Are You? A while ago, we did an episode where Stacey dumped out her brain with all of her why questions. Why? Oh, why? Oh, why do people do what they do? And, you know, she's not the only one who has why questions rattling around in her brain. So, today, you have the privilege of hearing my why questions.
Ooh, la la.
So, Stacey.
Yeah.
Why? Please answer this for me. Why do people throw trash out the window of their cars?
Why do people throw trash out the window? Okay. I don't know for sure, but let me just say this. I have one hypothesis about one specific type of trash. I have been walking a lot outside lately, and in New Hampshire anyway, I find a lot of, on the side of the road, the little tiny alcohol bottles, we call them nips out here.
Yeah.
I think they call them something else in the Midwest, but I mentioned it to one of my friends from church that, man, there's so many nips on the side of the road on this one particular area. And he is the one that runs the road cleanup project.
Mm-hmm.
So the church sponsors a portion of the road, right? Mm-hmm. And he says, it's actually very interesting because he said, I've noticed the same thing, but the crazy thing is he's like, the road going from Jaffrey to New Ipswich, like that side of the road, the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Tons of nips on that side. He said, like hardly any on the other. So like when people are driving, he's like, I don't know if people are getting up, and I kind of like this went ding, ding, ding. I don't know if it's people buying alcohol after they leave work or whatever in like the Jaffrey Ringe area that are driving up toward New Ipswich, Mason, Greenville, whatever else is up there. And they're having their secret drinks on the way home. And the reason they have to throw them away is because, and most of them are things like, that don't smell like vodkas and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so they're throwing them out because they want to hide their secret little sin that they're trying to hide from whoever they're living with.
Yeah.
So that's one theory about that.
Right. Then what about like McDonald's bags and coffee cups and Mountain Dew cans?
Well, McDonald's might be a hidden problem as well.
That's a hidden sin as well.
Maybe.
Oh.
I don't, let me tell you a funny story about this though. I think most of the small towns have this Life in New Ipswich or Life in.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a Life in Yakult page?
Yep. Yakult and Battleground and
Okay. And boy, can those just be so entertaining at times.
Uh-huh.
So there was somebody, and I don't know if they ever caught them, but they even named them the kitty litter bag burglar or something like that. Strikes again. And it was someone had like Walmart bags full of dirty kitty litter, and it'd be in the middle of the highway, like,
oh my word,
in this one specific area.
Yeah.
Like, constantly.
Yeah.
And everyone trying to sort out who the heck is doing this and why would you do this?
Yes.
So I don't have answers. I think that maybe every kid should be taken on like a roadside cleanup project once in their life to show them that this doesn't magically disappear, that there are in fact people volunteering their time to pick up your trash.
Yeah. And it's so, I don't know, it's so messy. It drives me crazy. And I'm showing my age here, but 20, 30 years ago in Clark County, it was not like that. It was very clean.
Yeah, but you guys have such a homeless issue out there now.
I know.
Which
that's a big
makes
problem.
the problem a lot worse. So we don't have that kind of trash like you do. And I think homelessness is linked to this too. Mm-hmm. You know, if you go to Las Vegas when you're driving in there, it's horrid.
Yeah.
You know, Vegas only looks good at night.
Yeah.
With all the sparkly lights to look at and but in the daytime,
distraction from like magicians, distraction from what's really happening.
Yeah. But when you see it during the daytime along the highways, it's just horrific.
Yeah, I agree totally.
But you won't see that in New Hampshire. And I think that's maybe why like some people go to New Hampshire, Maine, like these areas, because they are typically very clean places. Fresh air, clean. We don't have a homeless population because it's too cold.
Yeah. Exactly.
In Michigan, same thing. Not that bad up there. At least in upper Michigan. I'm sure there's places in downstate that have
I would think
cities
Detroit
or whatever.
And wherever, I would think there's a lot worse. But I don't know. It just feels like it's a growing problem, and I don't understand it. I cannot I throw out banana peels.
I'll throw anything an animal can eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Food, whatever. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But plastic and glass and tin cans and whole bags of styrofoam and,
What about cigarette butts?
We never really smoking in our cars was never really a thing.
Yeah.
When we did road trips, it was, driving across Montana at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But my reason for that is wildfire. It's just, I don't love that whole.
Oh yeah. Many forest fires have been started by a flick of a cigarette butt out a window.
Exactly. And
yeah, for sure.
Not cool. That is not cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people just don't, they're not thinking. If they would really think through the whole process of that.
Yeah.
I don't know that they would do it.
Yeah. And I think you're right. If people had to clean it up, maybe they'd think twice before they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So my next question, dear.
Yeah. Shoot.
Why do people dog ear borrowed books? You know what dog earing? You fold the little corner over.
I dog ear my books, but I would never dog ear a borrowed book.
Yeah.
I do dog ear my books.
Yeah. It's interesting because some people do and some people don't.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's, people probably have opinions about what kind of person you are if you dog ear a book. And to me, the kind of person you are if you dog ear someone else's book. If you want to dog ear your own book, go for it. But
it doesn't bother. This is part of it. I could care less if you borrowed my book and dog eared it.
Yeah.
Because I do it to my books anyway.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. So whether I do it or someone else does it wouldn't bother me. And so maybe someone like me that dog ears their books would think other people wouldn't care either.
Nobody cares about that. Yeah.
Like if they knew that it bothered the book owner, then they probably wouldn't. See, I just naturally, I don't even think it's natural. I think the reason that I don't dog ear other people's books is because my husband was a little horrified when he saw me doing it. Because he's a book person and I just was like, well, I won't dog ear your books if it bothers you.
Exactly.
I find a receipt or a scrap of paper or something that I can use as a bookmark.
Yeah.
I know everyone's listening probably don't send me a bookmark.
Yes.
I don't want a bookmark.
No, thank you. No bookmarks.
No, because it's just...
Nobody has our mailing address. They cannot send bookmarks through email. I mean, they can only send printable ones. By the way, if you want to get a hold of us, whosegirlareyou@gmail.com, WHOSE. Send Stacey all the printable bookmarks. No.
For the love of God. No, I don't know why I feel like that's just another thing,
Yeah, I do too.
If I end up with a bookmark from, a retreat or conference or something I go to, I'm like, oh, cool. And I'll use it. And then it ends up, I finish the book and then I take the bookmark and I'm not currently in a book and it sits there and then it gets thrown in the trash.
Yeah. And then with Kindle books and whatever
do you like reading on those?
I love my Kindle books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use them and I do it on my phone. I don't actually have a Kindle or a larger,
device.
What are those flat things?
They're called a Kindle.
Yeah, but there's a Kindle and then there's, what's the
just like an ebook or something?
No,
what's a tablet?
Tablet. I don't have a tablet.
Oh, yeah.
So my computer one of my laptops does flip backwards. Like it folds all the way open so that it becomes, and the keyboard shuts itself off so that it becomes a larger tablet sort of thing.
The laptop I'm on right now is like that.
But I never read on that. I'm
so tech in so many ways. Like I prefer tech. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to reading a book, I want a real book. Yeah. But here's the other thing about it. I don't want to keep that book.
Mm-hmm. I know. Give it away.
Yeah. I have a few books.
Donate something. Yeah.
But yeah, the minute am having a conversation with someone and it reminds me of that book, I ask them, do you read?
Yeah.
And if they say yeah, then I'll give it to them. Like, I have a book for you.
Yeah.
Some people just don't read. That's always shocking to me when people just don't read.
I know.
Like, I understand some people are really avid readers and some people aren't, but to just not read at all?
Yeah, I know. It's very interesting, isn't it?
That's just kind of surprising to me.
I know. Because books transport you to you can get into another person's life and head and transport you to another place, to another time. And it's so fascinating. It's so interesting. It's so, it's like exploring a new place.
You know, what's interesting too is that if I read the same book as you, we'll have a different experience.
I know.
See, like, I don't think, maybe movies are similar, but like we pick up on different things in them, but I don't think quite as much as books are because of how our imagination works.
Yeah. So when you read a book, do you picture, like, have you ever read Tolkien?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you picture, like, the whole scene that's happening? Because he spends a lot of time on what the place looks like, what Middle Earth looks like.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. That does that because I want to be able to picture the whole thing. If it's too shallow and there's not enough descriptives of the people or the places, it doesn't grab me. Yeah. Because I do visualize that.
You build the whole thing in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
You do too, I'm guessing.
I do to a certain extent. My world building or character building is a little less detailed, I think, because someone will mention something. If we've read a book and we're talking about it in a shared experience and they'll describe something and they'll say, what did you think about that? And I'm like, I never pictured that. Like, and then I go back and look and I'm like, oh dude, it was all here. Yeah. So maybe I don't store it in my long-term memory. I know I don't with movies.
Yeah.
People will ask me a title of a movie and I'm like, I know that I watched that movie. I might even know who stars in it. I can't tell you the plot. I can't tell you where it took place. I can't tell you.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it's like.
But I usually can't even remember who was in it.
Yeah, no, usually I can't either. I'm terrible. My kids, same with musicians. Yeah. I don't know musicians' names. I don't know artists' names.
But put a song going and I will sing every word of that song.
I don't as much.
I might not know who sings it or when they did it or anything like that, but.
Yeah. But I know, and it's super weird because it's like, that is somehow my brain, our brains are so crazy. We've talked about this before. Somehow my brain does not think that that's important information to store.
Because it's not.
The plot of a movie or who stars in a movie or the title of a song. And the other thing is song titles sometimes make no sense to me. So somebody will ask me, do you know da-da-da-da song? And I'm like, no. Like no. And then they'll play the song. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that song. I just didn't know I had this super weird title that has nothing to do with the lyrics of the song. Like, okay.
Yeah. So why do people dog your books? Because they don't care. Because they don't think you care. They don't think anyone cares.
Yeah.
They're not trying to be rude.
No, I know. But I think it is rude. So don't dog your books.
Unless they're mine. I don't care.
Especially the ones that belong to somebody else.
Yeah.
If they belong to somebody else.
Unless they belong to me. Then I don't care. Go ahead.
Yeah. My husband is an avid book collector, so we have so many books.
Oh, I know. When we moved, we had 1,000 books. I'm not exaggerating.
I have some of your books from when you moved because my husband is like, all the books. Ed's getting rid of all the books.
You know why Al bought all those books? Do you know why? Ask him. You'll have to ask him if this is his recollection of it. This is my recollection of it. So we had all these books and we had this small trailer and my husband and I had a big argument about it because I was like, you're not taking all of those books when you're already telling me I can't take my dining room set. I can't take my new hutch. I can't take no, that's not happening. Mm-hmm. So we kind of had to barter back and forth and I had to sell this stuff and he had to sell that stuff. And, we realized what was important, the washer, the dryer, the beds, pots and pans, whatever. And I don't know if Al had come over he's like, you're getting rid of some of your books. And Ed's like, yeah, I'm getting rid of all of these. There's about 1,000. He's just like, I want that. I can't remember what the book was, but he wanted this one book that my husband had from some science fiction author that they both liked, and it was signed. It was a signed copy.
Yeah.
And my husband said, if you want one, you have to buy them all. But he was only selling them for like $10 a box. And I think it ended up being $100 for 1,000 books or something crazy. Yeah. And your husband was like, sold. And he like and he's like, you have to take them all. And so he took them all. And I don't know if he sorted through and picked the ones he wanted and tossed the rest in a dumpster barrel, or if they're all sitting in your.
They're probably all in my house. No, actually he did.
You probably have like my high school yearbook.
I might. No, I don't. I don't have, not to my knowledge. I don't have it might be in a box somewhere. Maybe I do, but I'm not aware of it. If you find it,
can I have it back?
No, $100. I'll get all the money back.
Recoup your money.
If you take one, you gotta take them all, Stacey.
Oh no, I don't want it then. Not interested.
I'm kidding. That would be super cool if I did find it.
If you do, you'll know whose it is.
Yeah, right? No, he did barter some of them. So he kept the ones he wanted, and then he would, cause you could go into some of these used bookstores and trade, I don't know, 2 for 1 or 5 for 1 or whatever it is. Like you bring in 5 and you can buy 1 or get 1, or bring in 2 and get 1. So he did that with some of them that were duplicates or that he didn't want or whatever. So he didn't keep them all.
Yeah, that was a lot.
But he probably kept, 600 of them. I don't know. He loves books.
Yeah, that was funny. 'Cause my husband really loves books too. He has moved more to digital.
Yeah.
And Audible.
Yeah.
So.
Al actually does a lot of audiobooks. I don't do as many.
Though my husband thinks he definitely has, but somehow we still end up with books, right? Like we both do Audible.
Yeah.
We both will read digital, but we obviously we read a lot, because like I'm even looking up at my bookshelf now and I'm like, there's starting to be books up there again. Like where do they come from? My husband's nightstand will just be stacked up with books. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So somehow or another.
I love books. They're amazing.
I'll never dog ear your books, I promise, if I borrow one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next question for you. Why don't people use a microwave shield?
I do.
Over your plate of spaghetti. You put your plate of spaghetti in the microwave. Uh-huh. And you put it going for 2 minutes or whatever. And you have spaghetti splattered all over the inside of your microwave.
That's annoying.
In all the cracks, my microwave has,
rotating
turntable, like a turntable.
Yeah, mine
so
too.
It's under the turntable. It's on the turntable. It's on the walls. It's on the ceiling. It's on the back. And they're not all flat surfaces. So my microwave also has the little grill element thing on the top where you can brown.
I know. Whoever designed these is just.
And there's like cracks and crevices. And if somebody puts spaghetti in my microwave and doesn't use the shield, it makes me so cranky. I'm like, dude, you get to wipe that out a week from now when it's dried up on there and cooked for, this is nuts.
So I don't have a shield. I know what you're talking about, those like plastic things that go over the top of it.
Lid.
And we don't have one.
Really? Do you cover with...
Because those also just gross me out.
Why?
Because they're always full of spaghetti sauce and stuff.
No, you throw it in the dishwasher every night.
Yeah, it just gets left in there though, and then it gets forgotten. So I've already been down that road.
Yeah, mine doesn't. Mine doesn't get left. We
just do paper towel.
Yeah, okay, that's a shield.
Yeah.
Paper towel or plastic wrap or whatever.
Well, let me just say, people don't dare put stuff in my microwave without putting a paper towel on it. They just don't do it, because I've flipped out.
Yeah.
And they just don't do it.
Yeah, that's me too.
So I don't have to clean my microwave hardly ever.
Plastic shield. Yeah, mine is very clean. Mm-hmm. It's like, I wipe it out when I'm cleaning my kitchen or whatever,
Yeah, but I only have to clean it like once a month when I'm doing like the deep stuff.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So why they don't, I don't know, because they're slobs and they don't care that their house is gross.
Yeah, could be it too. And is that another thing like the litter? Like you just don't notice? Like you don't see it?
Maybe both let's clump all these together and say maybe some people just think it's the future's problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do whatever lazy thing I'm going to do right now, and it's the future's problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of taking the extra step right now so that the future will be better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people do this in general in life. And this is where you and I have that administration brain is, yeah, it's a lot of work on the front end, but long term, it's a lot less work. So it's always just like nobody wants to do that work on the front end to make everything easier in the future. It's like everything is like the future's problem.
Yep.
You know, instead of thinking,
let's do it now.
With anything, right?
Yeah.
I think this is why I tend to keep a more organized home.
Yep.
You know, on the front end, when you like find a space that you've really let go and it's been a catch-all, it can be a little pain in the butt trying to figure out how to make that space work and where all that stuff goes and whatever. But like, spend the extra time and do it right. Man, just feel like your life's just simpler. Oh, I came back from Michigan. My husband had done his side of the closet. I had done mine like maybe a couple of weeks before Michigan. I finally had pulled everything out and tried every stitch of clothes on, and anything that didn't fit right or whatever, I just got rid of it. Stored some winter stuff, and then I was like, everything in there that I pull is going to fit me. There's nothing more frustrating than pulling clothes out of your closet and putting them on and being like, this doesn't even fit.
I know. Why is it here?
It sets your mood off in a negative way if like everything you're putting on is tight, right? Like just get rid of it. Or I actually stored like one size down and one size up. Like if it's something I love, like that can be stored for, and I can dip into it, but it's not going to be it's not going to live in my closet space. So anyway, I came home and I walked into my closet and thought, whoa, I said, you sorted all of your stuff. And he said, yeah, it was quite the task. And I was like, you hardly have anything left. He's like, I did what you said, and I only kept the things that fit me. And I stored the rest. I was like, wow, you don't have very much.
Yeah. Yeah. And you find that out if you actually think about your laundry. Like, those are the clothes that you wash. You know, and everything else is just taking up space.
Yeah. And it doesn't just take up space in your house, though. It takes up space in your mind.
Yes. In your head.
People don't realize.
And those kind of tasks, those kind of things, when you're sorting through, like, what am I going to wear? And you're going, no, doesn't fit, too short, too long, you know, and it's just like, do it once, get it over with. And then your mind is free. And
I'm not going to lie, it was emotionally taxing on me to do that.
Yes, it is.
I had to come to terms with a lot of things during that process.
Right. But it's so freeing after, you know, the reward is so good.
Yeah.
And so, the future, the problem I see with that though, I don't know. I like paying my bills up front. I really do. I do not like owing the future anything.
But some people can't get out of their own way.
Yeah. They can't get ahead.
They keep kicking the rock down the road, and they keep thinking, I don't know if they keep thinking someone else will deal with it, or that problem will go away, or that it will somehow resolve on its own, or that it's not, they convince themselves it's not even a problem. I don't know. I don't understand it either, because I am a plan for the future, always projecting out, like not. So I actually have the opposite problem. I have a hard time living in the moment.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking about what's coming down the road.
Yeah. So it does come with its own set of problems being this way. But I'd prefer it. Like both ways come with problems. So I'll pick this one.
Yeah.
I feel like it comes with less problems.
Yeah. Well, and the problems are less stressful. Like, I might have to do a little hard work right now because I have to actually carry my trash. The other thing that goes along with litter then is your car. Like, how much trash is in your car?
Right now, how much is in my car?
Yeah.
So I have the door, the driver's side door, little thing there in the door is what I use as my trash can. Yeah.
And when that's full?
Well, if it's full, I'll empty it. But typically what I do is just empty it when I get gas. The door's open. I'm filling up with gas. I empty that door. So I never end up having, if I'm going to have a problem, I have like a problem with too many like non-throwaways and things
Coffee
in my car.
cups?
Like 2 Yetis, and I already have one in my hand, so like I can't carry all those, and I don't want to make a second trip back, and I think I'll do that tomorrow, and so I do push my problems to tomorrow at if it's like raining or something, you know? Like, I have a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, I live in New England, so I typically have like a jacket in my car, even if it's 80 degrees out, because you know how it is.
Yeah, totally. You need it.
So like I'll keep maybe an extra pair of shoes or some clothes, and then I forget that I have them, so then I bring more.
Yep.
And then I'm like, well, more is better. And then before you know it, it's not trash I have a problem with.
Yeah, you have to go through your car because you have to give away stuff that doesn't fit you anymore.
Well, here's the thing. I don't have people ride in my car super often. I'm alone quite a bit.
Yes.
So I don't even recognize the problem until all of a sudden someone has to jump in my passenger seat. I'm like, hang on. And I'm like, throwing,
everything in the back.
Not a week's worth, but it feels like it when I'm in my embarrassing moment of obviously don't have people ride with me very often because I have to clean.
Yeah. So you enjoy the moment sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good news.
I'm not totally anal retentive about my every move. Like I do let everything slide once in a while. I'll say not today. I'm just going to sit in my porch swing.
Yeah, totally.
But I can't very long. And then my brain goes, just do it. Just get it done.
I know.
So that you can really relax.
Yeah. Then you can sit in your porch
for 10 minutes before you go to bed.
But those 10 minutes are bliss.
Oh, aren't they though?
Okay.
What else you got? What other questions you got?
I have another question. Why do people go to the restroom and not wash their hands?
Ew.
That is so disgusting. So here's the thing. I don't know how often. I don't use public restrooms any more often than I absolutely have to. I don't love I don't know anybody who does love public restrooms, just saying. If you love public restrooms, just, send us an email. We want to talk to you.
We want to know why.
Yeah.
We'll give you some names of some good therapists depending on where you live.
Exactly. But you see people in places like rest areas, we stop at rest areas if we're driving, truck stops, gas stations, Fred Meyer store when you gotta go in because you have a granddaughter with you who needs the bathroom, whatever. And people just come out of the stall and walk out of the room. And I'm like, I'm a live and let live person, but I seriously feel like getting up in their faces and saying, excuse me, but would you please wash your hands like for the rest of us? That's
You're going to go out there and start touching everything.
Yes.
Takes 2 seconds.
I know. Exactly. So, maybe this is another push the problem down the road, right? Like, but it just makes me like crazy. And
maybe they think, I remember thinking this as a kid. Maybe some of them don't grow out of it. I remember thinking, well, I didn't like touch anything. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was wiping, like I had tons of toilet paper. Like I didn't technically touch anything, right? Except for clean toilet paper. So,
well, and it's
maybe,
true. But still,
the 8-year-old's mentality of like, I don't think I got anything on my hands, so I'm fine.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
I'll tell you one thing I realized when I cleaned at the church. I hate to call out my own people, but we filled up the soap in the women's bathroom way more often than we filled up the soap in the men's bathroom.
Really? And I doubt it was because they used 2 pumps and the men only used 1 pump.
I kind of doubt it. But, we can go with that to put the best context on it.
Yeah.
Oh, funniest thing. I have to say this when I'm like talking about it. So I can't remember who it was that had told me. But he said, yeah, that soap in the bathroom smells so good, but you have to make sure you don't come out of that bathroom with your fingers in front of your nose just smelling them because that looks a little weird too, right? Oh, did I laugh?
Yeah.
I said, I'm glad to know you wash your hands.
Yeah, exactly.
And I shook his hand.
Yep, exactly. Well, and that's the other thing. And see, I guess here's the thing. Got too many things going on here. Shaking hands with somebody who has not washed their hands absolutely makes me like gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, but how do you know?
I know, you don't know. But what I was going to say is, here's the thing. When I see people in a restroom come out of the stall and go straight out the door, I think if you do that in a public restroom, like, I don't want to ever come to your home. I don't ever want to be in your home because, if they do it in a public place, their private space is way worse than that. I think. Do you think? Or do you think they think,
I don't know. You're starting to sound kind of judgy about these people.
Well, do you think, okay, so maybe they're in their own,
like, do you think are you saying you think there's probably a direct correlation between people who don't wash their hands using a public restroom and the state of their own house?
Well, I'm asking that. Like, do they respect their own house? Because, okay, so people maybe these all tie together. People may litter.
It's probably the same people. It's probably the same people that are littering and not washing their hands.
And dog-earing their neighbors' books. But what I'm saying is, do they have enough presence of mind to consider, I'm in my own home and I don't want feces and things scattered all over my house. So I will wash my hands in my own home. But in Walmart, who cares? Like, Walmart's gross anyways.
No, I think,
is it that?
I don't think so. I think if you're not washing your hands in the public restroom, you're not washing your hands in your private restroom.
That's what I think too. And I'm like,
because I think it's
wishing I would be wrong.
I think it's more common the opposite. I think that probably more people don't wash their hands in their own houses, but will wash their hands in a public restroom.
Because there's a little element of judgment.
There's social pressure.
Yes, exactly. When you walk out of the stall and there's people there, you're like, I gotta go to the sink and wash my hands, I guess. Cause there's people here. I would be really curious. To have they don't have cameras in restrooms, do they?
No, they're not allowed to.
Not even in front of the sink.
No.
I didn't think so.
You cannot have cameras.
I didn't think so. I would totally want to know those statistics.
I would love to just stand there and like take a poll with like a piece of paper and a tally sheet.
Yeah. And just,
out of 100 people, how many do not wash their hands?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I'm going to start taking a poll when people come to visit at my house. I'm going to listen to hear if the water is running after they use the restroom so I can know if they're washing their hands or not. Now they all will because they listen and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I better.
Yeah. Cause everybody listens to our podcast. So
everybody is super popular.
Our 7 listeners.
Well, they're all my friends. That's what I'm trying to say. So
well, some of them are mine. Some of them are
true.
So you don't have 7 friends. I'm just saying.
I only have 3
and a half. I'll give you the half. I love doing our podcast. It is a bright spot in my life.
Yeah.
I tell you, this is like completely off subject, but I cannot tell you how thankful I am to be doing this with you because it's just so much fun.
It is so much fun. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just chatting with you. I just like talking to you. I want to know if you have any more questions because I have all the answers.
I do. I have one more question.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
What is it?
Why do parents lie to their kids?
Like what kind of lie?
Like, if you do that again, you're going to be in trouble.
Oh, empty threats?
Yes.
That's funny that you bring this up. I just got back from Michigan yesterday. I was spending time with my family and there's a lot of that. I feel like we were actually my cousin was saying something and I actually was just like, oh, the Kangas family running on empty threats and what was the other thing? It was something else for generations.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, running on empty threats and sarcasm for generations. And she kind of laughed, but I said, it's so true.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like shrugged her shoulders. I don't know. I think the threat is a real threat until the kid doesn't respond and then the parent's too tired to get off their butt.
So again,
yeah,
all of these things that we've been talking about are pushing a problem down the road.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to deal with it right now. And right now I'm tired, or I'm watching a show, or I'm visiting with someone over coffee, and my kid is acting up, but I don't feel like dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
No, and it's really bad because, you know, I feel like, and I'm still learning this, and I think we all are just always learning this, but it's not the big gestures in life. It's not the huge vacations or the extravagant gifts. It's the little tiny choices you make day by day, like brushing your teeth, brushing and flossing. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about this before. Mm-hmm. You can't just do it once a week and think that's good enough. It has to be done like religiously, every morning, every night. Mm-hmm. And then over time, you know, you'll be the 50-year-old with good teeth, mm-hmm. right? You can't like kick that thing down the road and think, well, I'll start doing that if I have problems. No, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff that's just proven, and you should just trust the people that went ahead of you. Mm-hmm. Or the food choices. You know, if you're constantly, it's okay to have a piece of cake. I'm not going to be some, you know, have some candy, whatever. I don't care. Yeah. Do whatever you want to do, but just know that every choice you make does matter. And if you keep saying, well, tomorrow I will do this, or tomorrow I will do that, and keep like pushing it to the future, and you never actually make that change, it's the little incremental eating your vegetables every day, staying away from sugar, that over time adds up. It's the going for a walk or getting your body moving for a little bit every day, every single day, that like adds up. It's not, you can't just do one big workout a week and think, oh, call it good. It's what are you doing every single day that you're building into your life? Reading the Bible, for instance. Like if you're only going to church once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not going to cut the mustard in today's culture, especially.
That's like eating food once a week. We're just going to have a meal on Sunday morning. That's it.
Yeah. If you're only going to pray on Sunday, if you're only going to listen to the word on Sunday, and then the whole rest of the week it's something different. Well, it's the little incremental, like, do you pray during the day? Do you read the Bible? Do you listen to Christian music? Do you are you worshiping in that way? It's these little, and you do this day by day by day, and like, it just starts to add up over time. Mm-hmm. And so we all are choosing.
Yeah.
And our future is literally the choices we're making right now, today, in the present.
Yes.
Is going to tell you what your future is going to be.
Yes.
I mean, ultimately, of course, right? God is in control.
Right.
And there's things outside of our control. Like, we're not controlling all of this.
Right.
But we know that if these are the choices you're making, it's like that whole, like he put in that whole reaping and sowing.
Yeah.
Model into.
Yes. You're going
life.
To reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And if you're sowing weeds and thistles, and nobody's intentionally sowing weeds and thistles. That's not. But it can be a byproduct of maybe less care or less concern or less effort or less, I mean, it's work. It's work to discipline your kids. Mm-hmm. It's work to brush and floss. It's work to throw your trash in the garbage can where it belongs. You have to walk over to the garbage can and do it, or you have to carry it in the house or into a store or whatever. Yeah. Instead of pitching it out the window. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, though, a lot of it comes down to laziness. And I'm speaking from myself. Shoot, when I don't do that thing.
Yeah.
I'm just being lazy about it. I don't want to. I don't want to, therefore I'm just not going to. Mm-hmm. What is it that drives a person past that point where the little, I almost am picturing like the Tom and Jerry cartoons, right? With the little angel on one and the devil on the other, and the devil being like, you don't need to brush your teeth tonight. You don't need to wear your retainer, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, what's one night? Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter, one night isn't going to matter, but are you starting a new thing?
Yeah.
Are you now going to be that person who just like says, who cares?
Yeah.
Pretty because soon it's nothing happens. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. The person that says, even smoking was the same way for me, right? Like when I started smoking, it was just like, big deal. I'm not addicted. I'm only having 5 cigarettes a day. What's 5 cigarettes a day? Big deal. And if I had stayed to 5 cigarettes a day, it probably wouldn't have been a big deal. Mm-hmm. But it never stayed there.
Yeah.
Like anything.
The dominoes fall.
Yeah, they just do, you know,
Yeah.
before you know it, you're a pack a day and sometimes on a weekend, a pack and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like good things add up in the same way, right? Like you even, when I started reading the scriptures, you know, it was hard to read them because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand them.
You talked about that before where it was tasted, what did you say?
It was like chewing sawdust. It was just like there was nothing
tasted
in
like
there.
sawdust.
Like, yeah. It was just dry and boring and seemed pointless, but I did it anyway. And over time, I started to understand it and it started to become enjoyable. So like when you start off with this discipline of, I'm just going to do this for 20 minutes every day, like regardless of what outcome I get, just I'm going to do it because he says obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that was my driving force on that. Then over time, all of a sudden you find yourself, oh my goodness, it's been 2 hours. I need to get on with things. And like, there's some stuff I need to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I do have other things in my life.
No, it's not just like, oh, I sat down one day and decided I'm going to read for 2 hours. Like that's not what happens. It's like, because this was part of my life. This has become part of my daily way of being. Mm-hmm. This is like who I am. Mm-hmm. It's just when I do have the opportunity. Yeah. And you know what? That's probably going back to being able to live in the moment. That's probably one of the times when I really get sucked into studying some part of the Bible and get really intrigued with the geography and the history and the all of the things and start really digging deep into something.
You're building the world just like what you do when you read a book.
Yeah. And I start to, that's when I'm most in the moment, I think.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. When I'm doing that or when I'm working my body really hard.
Yeah.
Like hiking or something, I'm in the moment there too. There's certain times where I really feel I'm just right there.
Yeah, I get that.
But a lot of times I'm doing the one thing, but I'm thinking about the next thing or the past thing or.
Right.
That's what I mean about having a hard time being in the moment.
So something flashed through my head when you said obedience is better than sacrifice. And I know that is scripture, but it flashed through my head that sometimes obedience is sacrifice.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a scripture, but it's true because you are sacrificing for the obedience of being in the word. You are sacrificing other parts of everything is a trade-off, right? Your time. Everybody's got the same amount of time as your husband says.
Yep.
And what are your priorities? What are you doing with your time? And can you do something that like takes care of some of those cans that you're kicking down the road, you know? Mm-hmm. And it is a sacrifice to do that thing right now, to get off the couch and actually take care of the kid instead of just saying, if you do that again, you're in trouble and not doing it. To actually carry your litter in the house, to actually.
How about put your shopping cart in the shopping cart corral?
Yes. Yes.
That one gets me too.
Yes.
So there's this guy on TikTok that films people not putting their shopping cart away.
Yeah. He's probably 1 million.
And then
how many million people follow him?
Posts. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's TikTok I saw him on and was I laughing? Cause I was like, he goes and like asks them about it or he'll like take a shopping. He'll see them do it and then take a shopping cart and put it right behind their car. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what are you doing? And he's just like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just putting my shopping cart here. And they're like, it's in my way. And he was just like, oh, well, I saw you put yours over there. I figured we were just allowed to put them wherever we wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's pretty antagonistic, honestly. He like does the thing that I kind of want to do, but would never dare because I don't think it's really appropriate. I mean, it's like, you know, like.
It's kind of confrontational.
It's confrontational. And the fact of the matter is I'm not responsible for everyone else's behavior.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, I try to extend grace to those people and think, I don't know, maybe they're in a lot of pain. Maybe they need to go home and poop. Maybe they I don't know. Maybe their kid is sick and they didn't sleep last night. Like I try to extend that and just think, I don't always want to be like, oh, what a lazy, you know, yada, yada. I try to say there's probably something going on. I try to do that with most things because I know when I'm not feeling good or I haven't slept or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily act as my best self.
Right.
So I just assume other people are just having a bad day.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
But I do, the stuff that crosses my mind about those shopping cart people, that guy does it. So just watching him kind of fulfills my like,
desire.
Secret wish of sometimes wanting to act out.
Yeah. And to ask somebody, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you thinking? It's
like,
10
you walk?
feet. Mm-hmm. It's 10 feet to the shopping cart corral. Go do the stupid 10 feet. You probably need the steps anyways. Just saying.
That is funny.
Oh, it's crazy.
Those are the same people that will circle the parking lot and like find the parking place that's as close and even cut someone off to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. After they just threw their litter out of the car and their cigarette butt and probably started a forest fire.
Yeah.
And then goes into Walmart and doesn't wash their hands in the bathroom.
Oh.
It's probably just the same, like most people just aren't like this, but there are those that are. And I think that where you see one of these whys, that same person probably has multiples of them.
I think so too.
Maybe they weren't taught.
That's a very good possibility.
Like, we don't know how people were raised either. Like, were they taught by anybody to respect themselves and respect others and respect, like, even the space, right? Like, right. I remember, I can't remember who it was. She used to do, like, women's retreats out in Washington. Maybe you could, I can't remember her name. She was an older lady.
Don't know which one you're talking about. And now I'm not throwing a name out there no matter what.
Say, well, I'll say this. I remember her saying, and this stuck with me for some reason, she said, everywhere you go, make that place better than what you found it.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so that still rings with me. And if I go into a bathroom and I wash my hands like I do, and I take paper towel, I'll dry my hands off and then take the paper towel and like wipe the counter if there's water on it or whatever.
Swipe it. Yes. Absolutely.
If someone else happens to drop something and I can tell they didn't even know that they dropped it, like trash or whatever, I'll pick it up and put it in the trash. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I know I didn't drop it. I know it wasn't like my thing, but if I'm walking right by, like, what's it going to hurt me? Yeah,
exactly. Or take a shopping cart back to the store.
Yeah. I do that too, you know?
I do too. And I feel like, you know, to me, those are worthwhile things to do. They're valuable things to do.
Yeah. To be thoughtful.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't take me any time. I am walking into the store. So if I walk into the store pushing a cart that's been sitting in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not like just going to Walmart to just put carts away.
No, exactly. But I take
I'm not just going into public restrooms to clean them for fun. Just saying if you're there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And I have the paper towel in my hand. So swipe the counter and whoop, that water spot is gone or water puddle, you know? And it's so easy.
Like I said, I drove back from Michigan. It's like took us 21 hours, I think, this time because we had a lot of thunderstorms. Our phones were going off for like tornado warnings and this and that and like take shelter. And we were like, hammer down.
Yeah. Take shelter under an overpass with everybody else.
We just kept going.
Have you ever had to do that?
Yeah, I have had to do that. Yeah.
I have too. I did it once for hail.
Oh yeah. It can get pretty bad.
It was bad. And people were like, I was like, there is going to be like automobile damage, you know, car damage, broken, dented things.
Yeah, it can get bad.
And everybody, of course, you know, we're on the freeway, middle of, I don't know, North Dakota or somewhere. I don't remember where it was. And everybody wants to be under those little overpasses. And I'm sorry, but all the cars on the freeway are not going to fit under each of those tiny little strips of concrete roof. Oh, it was crazy.
I've never actually seen a tornado though.
I never have either. I mean, I've seen like the funnel in the distance, whatever, you know. Tornado and hurricane, what's the difference?
Tornado comes and touches down and does that. The hurricane is just like a huge cyclone and usually has a lot of water associated with it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it doesn't touch down.
We lived through a hurricane when we lived in New Hampshire, like, you know, almost 35, 40, whatever years ago. And, yeah, it was just a big wind. That's all. Yeah. And it got quiet. Then there was a big wind again.
Yeah, Yeah, we've had that. And it's more of a tropical storm
Mm-hmm.
by the time it gets to us, but it
Right.
still can be it can take down trees and
Yeah, and it can be destructive.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the bathrooms that we stopped at on the road, I'm sitting there and it's one of those where there's like graffiti everywhere and there's toilet paper on the floor and there's like whatever. But when you gotta go, you gotta go. And there's a sign on the door that said, "We value our cleanliness," or something. Like, if you see anything out of order, please let a staff member know. And I thought, really? Like, should I actually say something? Or, and like, I kind of giggled to myself because I thought that sign got put up a long time ago and I'm pretty sure it doesn't really mean anything anymore. I didn't say anything because I was just like, you do not value your cleanliness. It doesn't look like this place has been cleaned in a week.
Exactly.
And in a public one, it would have to be done every day. Please, even my home ones, I have to do more than once a week.
Right. Exactly. I just recently
hired a cleaner. Just kidding.
No.
Oh.
I came out of a public restroom with a piece of toilet paper on my shoe.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize. Yeah. There was enough junk on the floor that I didn't realize I had stepped in things, but apparently I stepped on a piece of toilet paper and it was so disgusting, which is part of like why this whole question came up. Like, why do people throw stuff on the floor or drop stuff on the floor or not notice when the trash can in the public restroom is so full that the stuff's like overflowing? There's toilet paper on the floor. There's paper towel on the floor. It's just so gross.
Mm-hmm.
Just so gross. So there's a scripture that I want to read you and see it. Like, does this...
Is it the proverb where it's like someone's so lazy they won't even lift their own hand to their face to feed themselves?
No, but that one fits too. No, this is the parable of the rich young fool.
Okay.
And it is in Luke chapter 12. Jesus is teaching the disciples and he's telling them, don't fear those who kill the body but can't kill the soul. And he's telling them, everyone who acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man will acknowledge before the angels of God. And then in verse 13, I'm going to read 13 through 21. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who made me a judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully, and he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God.'" And so my thought on this is obviously he's talking more about working for physical possessions rather than what is truly riches, which is God and his word and Christ and the kingdom and all of those things. But there is an element of this not planning for tomorrow, not taking care of today. Like this guy's just going to tear down his barns and build new ones. But he doesn't understand that today matters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if it even connects, because I know, if this scripture is followed by, "Don't be anxious. God takes care of the birds and the lilies." But it ends with like, be dressed for action, be ready, be prepared. And I feel like that applies to our lives here, not only preparing for heaven or eternity. Like, be prepared, like put the shopping cart away and don't throw the litter out the window and wash your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think though, what keeps coming to me as I'm listening to you talk about it is it boils down to God cares more about who we are than what we do. And when you say, it's about God and the kingdom and all of that. Yes, yes, yes. And, are we letting him work on our hearts and minds and submit to his authority and what he calls us to? And it's more so on like who he calls us to be.
Mm-hmm.
He says like, I am the light of the world. And he says, be the light to the world.
Yeah. No. Actually, he doesn't. I'm going to correct you on that. He doesn't say be the light to the world. False.
He says, I'm the light. And
But then he says, you are the light of the world. He doesn't say go out and be the light of the world. He says, you are the light of the world. And if his light is dwelling in you, it cannot be hidden.
Yes.
It's like the city set on a hill can't be hid.
Yeah. Thank you. Because that's exactly what I meant. That's exactly what I was trying to get to is like, it is who we are.
Yes, exactly. And, that little be the light of the world thing, there's t-shirts and coffee cups and stuff, bumper stickers, whatever. Yeah. And it kind of irks me a little bit. Not irks me, but it just puts me like that's not right. Like, don't lay that burden on people.
To be the light of the world.
Like, go out and be the light of the world. Because it's not, I understand this whole podcast today is like, be a better human, pick up your trash and wash your hands and do the things that need to be done to love your neighbor. But I don't want it to be an overburden. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, no, I know exactly
like
what you're
going
saying.
in and cleaning the public restroom and moving all the shopping carts. No, you don't have to move all the shopping carts. That's not your job.
The question is just, the question really is, like, are you making the world a better place by like being in it, just by being you? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be doing anything grand. Just like, are you loving? Are you full of grace?
Yes.
Like you are the light of the world. So
live like it.
Like, remember who you represent.
Yes, totally. That's it exactly.
It's more like that. It's not this whole list of like, do all of these things and then you'll be a good Christian or something like that.
Yeah, you'll be the light of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christ is dwelling in you. And that cannot help but ooze out of you.
Yeah.
Through all your broken cracks and pieces of your clay pot.
Yeah.
That light just shines out.
You can't help but become more and more like the people that you spend time with.
Absolutely.
Whether it's your friends or, whoever.
Or your Lord. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're spending time at the feet of Jesus, I mean, you're bound to look like him and shine like him and be different, which is probably why I feel so out of place a lot of the times when I go into the world.
I know.
Right? Like you just don't feel like you fit in anymore. I'm such a square peg.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why it's so fun to go to church now for me and to be around my people.
Oh, I love it. I know.
Because I feel normal around them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, they are. You have a very large family.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of times it's easier to be around my spiritual family than it is around my physical family.
Yeah. Right.
I won't name names.
Nope. No names necessary.
I love my family too, but
yeah,
I'm just saying there's not always, if they're also not in the kingdom, there's not always that grace and forgiveness and love that you have from your spiritual family.
Right.
And
it's easier for conflicts and things to cause a problem, I guess, because you're not both focused on reconciliation and restoration and holding one another with grace.
Mm-hmm. It can't be one-sided.
Yeah.
You can want reconciliation with someone and be willing to do whatever, but if that other person isn't seeking that,
it's over.
There's not going to be a resolution there.
I know.
Until that person turns and says, I also want that,
Yeah.
And that's a really hard place to be for people with their physical families.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you for helping me sort through all of my why questions. It has been a
good
therapy session for me.
If anything, you got them out and we could talk about them a little bit. Yeah.
I'll be your therapist if you'll be my therapist.
Sure. I don't know how well that will work, but why not? It's free.
Right? There you go.
If it's free, it's for me. Yeah, no. I'd be curious if anyone else has why questions. Why in the world do people...
Yeah. Fill in the blank.
ABCD. Yeah.
Send them to us. We'd love to hear them and we'd love to talk about them because we might have those very same questions.
Yeah. Or I might have all the answers that you've ever been looking for.
Of course, we have all the answers.
I have a way of just BSing my way through things anyway. Like, I don't know, but this is what I think.
Yep.
It could be,
Yep.
Just know that everything I said in the last hour could very well be wrong.
Yep. You know, that's a really good attitude to have. I might be wrong.
It's literally just my opinion.
That is the first thing we learned at the seminary. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
No.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I've been wrong a time or two.
Yep. One of our professors was like, here's the thing.
Unlike my husband, who's never wrong.
I know, right? You got one of those too? Love our husbands to pieces, but boy, they sure know things.
Yeah.
And they do. That's the funny thing, is most of the time they are right.
They don't usually talk about stuff they don't know about.
Right? Exactly.
That's the ticket.
Right
Just
there.
don't talk about stuff you don't know about.
We follow that rule so well, don't we, Stacey?
We're like the anti.
We talk about everything we don't know about. And we have all the opinions in the world.
That's literally what our podcast is about. It's just about
what we think.
Trying to talk through some stuff and see if we can come up with any. We can figure any of it out in real time.
I love it. I love it. It helps me.
I don't know if anyone thinks we actually have plans and questions or whatever. And there's times that we have, if we have specific something, but for the most part, we're just winging it.
Yeah. No, that's it exactly.
Like life.
Yep.
Figure it out as you go.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah. It's like the game of Mao. You ever play that?
No, what is it? Tell me about it.
It's a card game and starts off. The game of Mao is like the game of life. You learn as you go.
And so then what? You just...
Anything. There has to be like a few people that know how to play the game with the people that don't know how to play the game, and they just start playing the game. And every time you're just like, I don't know what card to put down. You like put down a card. If it's the wrong card, they don't say anything. They just slide it back at you and then say, take one. And then you have to take another one. The whole goal is to get rid of your cards.
Yeah.
If you talk to try to ask a question, they're like talking, and then they hand you a card.
Yeah.
So you just have to figure it out. And
that sounds fascinating.
I can't tell you what the actual, it's just one of those just figure it out kind of games. If we're ever together, I'll play with you. But here's the thing. There's some people that their personalities cannot handle not knowing what to do or feeling laughed at, because the people that do know can't help but be giggling about the frustration of the other people. Right?
Right.
And so you have to be able to kind of laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Be willing to be wrong and figure it out. I mean, it's like life. Some people they get frustrated and throw their cards down and walk away and quit.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a litmus test for people's maturity level.
Yeah.
If they're not super mature, they might not be able to hack it.
Uh-huh.
But it's really fun. And then pretty soon everyone learns how to play, and they're, okay, I get the premise of that. Well, then the person that goes out gets to make up a rule. And so can be different every game.
Oh,
so you can make
nice.
up a rule that every time an ace is played or something, you have to pat yourself on the head.
Yeah.
And
that's the rule.
That's now added. Yeah. Until we quit this game. And then the next person will say, well, every time 4 is laid, you have to say Stacey's awesome.
Yeah.
You can make them say or do whatever you want, and everyone has to do it. And if a card gets laid,
and everybody has to figure out what that rule is.
And if someone doesn't, you tell them the rule at the end of the game. Like, I won, so now every time a 4 is played, you have to say Stacey's awesome. Okay. And if they don't do it, because like, that can be hard for someone too, to like say that to somebody even. And they're just like, they want to be stubborn. Well, then card, until they do it, they just keep getting cards.
Yeah.
So there's like a discipline factor to this game. Anyway, it's super fun. And so there are some core rules, but then the rules get added upon every time until they're so out of control where every single card that's getting laid is just a rule.
A rule.
And can you remember it?
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun.
You know what? It's kind of like life, right?
It's like life.
And it's kind of like our podcast. And it's kind of like the topic that we talked about today. So we got to keep it all straight. Yeah.
May the odds be forever in your favor.
Sounds good.
All right. It's been fun.
Let's chat again.
All right.